So yeah, pretty provocative first slide. I imagine the three different types of people in this room already. There's the people who believe that social media does acquire users. There's the people that don't believe it at all, and then there's the people who are not quite convinced either way. So quick piece of audience participation to start with. Can you put the hands up if you have done social media campaigns to try and acquire users before? Okay, quite a lot of people. And what about people who've tried it and have never done it since because it didn't work? Nobody? People have kept on doing it. Well, that's positive. So who does this guy think he is? I'm a 22-year-old entrepreneur. I've been building businesses for the last sort of 6 years. And it's quite difficult to explain what I do with influencer marketing, so I always go back to my mum. And this is what she said on the phone to me at the end of last year, just before I did a talk, when I asked her to explain what I did. And she said it was, she had no idea what I did, and she still thought it was trendy to be on Facebook. So let me give you a bit of insight as to what I do and where I've come from. I always wanted to be a footballer like every other 16-year-old male. I didn't quite make the grade. So I thought, okay, how can I still be involved in sport every day? So I went, okay, fine, I will start writing about football. And I went, okay, I'm going to build a business online, but my mum again intervened and went, you're never going to make any money doing this. Go and get a real job. So I started to cry, but then, okay, hold on. I'm on Twitter every day, and I'm talking with people who are Liverpool fans every single day, but I don't know who they are. And we're making these connections all the time, talking about the same thing. So I went, okay, well, how about I build a community-driven blogging platform where I just talk about Liverpool with lots of different people who are Liverpool fans. So we created a company called Fresh Press. This was the first very, very small fan group driven blogging community. We started with Liverpool, we expanded out to Arsenal and all the other clubs. We've now got 60 websites with over 500 writers. And when I was 18, Aaron, who's sitting in the audience somewhere over there, came to me and went, okay, I want to advertise on your podcast. I had no more than sort of 5,000 listeners on the podcast every week. And he was just founded Sport Lobster and went, okay, I want to advertise on your podcast. And I went, great, it cost me £15 every month to host it. If you could cover that, then that would be great. I was still in college at the time, so I went, okay, well, £15 is a pretty big deal. And then off the back of that, we got chatting, and I met up with Aaron in London and taught him about Sport Lobster, which is a sports social network. I ended up joining Sport Lobster the day that I got my A-level results, and then we went through this journey, which was pretty cool. I did 2 years of basically living every 18-year-old's dream in sport. I went to every single match that you could possibly imagine. I sat courtside at the NBA. I went to all the different NFL matches in London. Met every single player you could possibly imagine. We raised an absolute shitload of money and did everything we possibly could in that time. But we realized that pretty quickly there was a lot of different marketing strategies that we could implement, but only a few worked to the scale that we needed to at Sport Lobster. So we tried tube ads, we tried TV ads, radio ads, we did display on digital, we did paid for social, we did literally everything you can possibly imagine with the money that we raised. But we started to tap into fan communities off the back of my experience with Fresh Press and the blogging community to really drive traffic and user acquisition to the platform. And we generated about 90 to 95% of our success with influencer marketing through these communities compared to all of our other marketing strategies. So off the back of that, in kind of mid-2015, we, which is myself, Aaron, and head of marketing at Sport Lobster, we started to think about what we could do with these communities on a wider network. So we set up GOAT, which is the agency we now run, and have been going for 18 months. And this is all about influencers and tapping into those different communities for different brands, different services that need to acquire users, get video views, get traffic to their website, all these different metrics that we can provide. And in the 18 months that we have been working in this space, we've become a leader of the influencer marketing space in the UK and across Europe. And we're working with these guys, which is pretty cool. doing all sorts of different things. And we really started our journey with iGaming and things in the startup football tech world. So the first question we always get asked at Go is, what do you define as an influencer? This is the definition that we give. It's a person or a page with a large engaged social following that you'll only know if you follow them. If you're aware of that person, for instance, someone like Zoella, who is a massive name now, and you know them but you don't follow them, then they're probably a celebrity. What we mean by celebrity is someone who is overpriced for their value. So it's someone who has, let's say Zoella, you pay £50,000 for a video, but actually she's going to provide £35,000 worth of value, and then the £15,000 on top is the premium for her celebrity status. Whereas we're looking for people who are untapped, unheard of, who are driving acquisition at a underpriced value or to their value of following. So how do you build a following on social? It's a very, very difficult question. But the main answer is you've just got to stop being boring. You've got to stop thinking that you're the center of the universe and that everyone actually cares about what you're doing, and you've got to make it relevant to them. The key to that is understanding that obviously content's king, but where you put that content is far more valuable. So delivering into certain communities is obviously where you're going to find the most value, and finding those communities that are relevant to your audience at the best rate is where it's most important. So it's where they put the content that matters, and we see all the time with brands that they spend so long looking at the content that they're actually going to create, whereas they spend very little time and very little money in terms of actually distributing that content. So this would be the graph that we see when we walk into the room quite often at brands, and they go, okay, we've built this amazing content, it costs $100,000, but yeah, we've only got this £5,000 pot to actually distribute and get it to the audience we're looking for. And we're like, okay, well, you know, the most important thing is actually getting it seen. They've spent £100,000 and they're actually going to only expect to see 1,000, 2,000 video views on this piece of content, or, you know, only acquire X amount of users. So we suggest that you do something more like this. You obviously spent the time and the money on creating the content, so it's as good as possible to access that audience, but spend 50% of that budget actually looking to distribute it into the different relevant audiences that you're trying to attack. By, you know, acquiring them as users, getting video views, getting traffic to your website, trying to get them as conversions. So we kind of formulated this equation over the course of the last 18 months that we can really tap into, and we've built a CRM system that allows us to track all the previous campaign data. We've done over sort of 150 campaigns now, especially in the iGaming sport world, where we've done things like Predict the Six, Football Index, we've done 7 of the Best, all sorts of different bookies as well, from Unibet through to Betfair. So we have got all this data about what converts people online, and it's all through this interest group plus timing plus call to action equals acquisition. The timing is the most important thing, and probably the thing that is a variable so much between using someone like us who've got a lot of experience in the agency world alongside someone who's just about to start it, and you're a brand that's just trying to do it. The difference in posting at 7:30 p.m. on a fan page between them posting at like 8 p.m. could be the difference of 30-45% of their actual user retention, or it could be the difference between them sending 100 people to your website compared to 200. So that is incredibly important, and the data that we've captured over the last sort of 18 months and further in Sport Lobster as well, makes that incredibly valuable. The call to action is obviously incredibly important, getting people to click through, understanding what they're doing, which is all about the content, the creative that we're creating, and yeah, obviously targeting the right interest group, which is, you know, pretty simple. So why do influencers convert better than any other channel? These are the 3 things that are the most important when it comes to talking about influencers. They create the best content for their audience. They've got an engaged community where people are always engaging with what they're saying, what they're doing, sharing it, talking with their friends, whatever they're doing, and also they've got that trust. Inside that community with the content they create, they've bought this trust where people pretty much do or pretty much do what they were actually told. And we see this much stronger on certain platforms, and other platforms will go up and down. But I'll get to that in a minute. So off the back of our work at Sport Lobster and now our work at Goat, we've massively been able to look at the difference between celebrity status and influencer status online and how it can drive user acquisition. This is a screenshot of Cristiano Ronaldo, who we had as a headline ambassador at Sport Lobster. 5.1 million video views off a post to 120 million Facebook fans. This is JubeTube. He's got 1.1 million followers on Facebook, and his video reached 84.8 million views and continues to average over 1 million views per video, which is 100% of his following. So yeah, it's all about engagement, and these 3 platforms at the moment are where the deepest engagement comes from. They're 3 of the most untapped markets on social, and especially for iGaming affiliates, betting affiliates, all these sort of different businesses can look at these platforms as the ones to look at in the next 12 months. We've seen, especially in the last 6 months, that Snapchat is attaining people at about it's about 100% better than this lot in Instagram. So if you have 20,000 Snapchat followers, you're looking at about 200,000 Instagram followers, or the value is the same, and you can drive the similar sort of numbers. And then when you take Instagram against Twitter, you can see the engagement rate is far, far higher on Instagram too. So some free ideas for people in the iGaming or betting world. For Instagram Live, the beauty of it is, unlike Facebook and Twitter Live, it dies straight after, so it's ephemeral in that way, and it's in the moment. So you can use it for quick sale. So people who get to it and see it, and you also get a push notification when someone has gone live if you're following them. So you can use it for the 15-minute spell that it is live, push them to it, offer a certain promotion, and then drop it out, because no one who tries to join it late will be able to see it again. Similar thing to Facebook Live, although it runs for longer and you can keep it up afterwards. So you could run a 30 to 15 minute Facebook live stream before the football or whatever event you're trying to market against, talking about the movement in the market and the tips to get people in, talking about what you're doing, and watching it live and engaging with your platform. And in Snapchat, we've seen some really good success from people who've done Snapchat-only markets and push people from other platforms into Snapchat to get them to just engage in a Snapchat-only market. And those people just retain at such a different rate to every other platform. So it's great listening. This is all great, but can actually be tracked. The exciting thing about influencer marketing and social marketing in general is that it is unbelievably trackable, and every side of it is trackable. $71.29 billion last year was spent on TV marketing. None of that is trackable, and it's crazy that people are spending that sort of money on something that you can't actually measure the ROI on. So this is an example of something that we can obviously provide with just a very basic native analytics that even the platforms provide. Obviously, we've got deeper understanding of those things as well. But if you just look at this as an example, you can see exactly how many impressions it got, how many engagements, how many link clicks it got. And we record all this different information in order to map it against the ROI from the link click through to the deposit, how that person then retains, all this sort of stuff. Again, you can see more and more data that we can drill into, something you don't get with lots of other traditional methods. So here's a good example of how we've used that data to follow right the way through. Football Index is a football stock market. It was a very different product to what we've seen on the market before. We spotted it about a year ago, and we started to create an affiliate program with them. So we thought, okay, well, what's the best way before they actually launch the affiliate is to get people talking about the football stock market as a thing. So we started to seed out different messaging about what it was to get people to understand it. So when they actually did see some posts about the stock market and drive them into acquisition, they could go on search and see actual people talking about it. So just very simple about what it is, what they're doing. And off the back of it, in the first 2 months, we drove 101,000 clicks to the platform, 5,000 playing signups, 1,782 of them deposited money. What was really exciting about that was how much they actually were depositing and how much they were wagering. Over £80,000 was deposited in that 2 months with these guys just through pretty light activity on our social network. and the lifetime value of these guys was incredible, and it helped them form the affiliate program that we actually developed with them over the last sort of 18 months. So this is key, and key learning from that case study is that conversations have to come before conversions. People have to understand exactly what they're doing before they do it. They have to be educated. They have to know what they're clicking on, so they don't have to take so much time that when they do hit the landing page, they have to work it out, they have to read it. They should know what they're doing before they actually get there. And then some final advice before questions or whatever is that we at Go think about marketing as if we're marketing to ourselves, as if we're marketing to actual human beings. Lots of marketers make the mistake of trying to market to people like a marketer, which is the worst thing you can possibly do. Thank you very much.
We already have a question there at the front. Just quickly say who you are and where you're from before you answer.
Yes, it's Chris Newton, planetinternettraffic.com. Planet Internet Traffic provide it's a literally mailing platform. So we sell clicks. So I just wanted to ask you, there are 750 strategies how to bring exposure, how to bring traffic and exposure to your clients, to literally any company, including companies in this particular niche. So would you mind asking you what are your strongest actually strategies to make money for your clients, and also particularly how do you see email marketing campaigns working for you, particularly let's say email marketing campaigns in certain geographic area bringing certain number of clicks, then you start scaling up if it's profitable to your clients.
We don't do any email marketing campaigns. We purely believe in influencer marketing that drives better clicks and conversions to anything else. We honestly believe that 2017, 2018 will prove that all other marketing channels are far, far less effective than anything in comparison to influencer marketing. The way that we look to drive traffic and conversions, I mean, if you're looking for pure traffic at scale for the cheapest cost, Facebook's still the best platform for that, and I still think in the next 12 months you'll see Facebook develop all sorts of their different internal products to make traffic driving even easier through things like Facebook Stories, which is going to come out in the next sort of 3 to 4 months, and probably take Snapchat's audience a better way again, like Instagram Stories did. Even the fact that Instagram Stories now allows you to click up and send traffic to your website is really interesting, and obviously that's what people are looking for. When it comes to strategies for traffic, it has to be Facebook. When it comes to strategies for long-term retention, then you're looking at platforms like Instagram and Snapchat. The Snapchat figures, honestly, are ridiculous in comparison to everything else we've done. We did one campaign with one Snapchatter who had 70,000 Snapchat followers. He converted 10% of his audience into new followers on a new platform that they had to download the app, search, register, and then follow him on the platform, and 10% of them did from the 70,000. So we got 7,000 users in 11 hours. So yeah, that's kind of the toss-up.
Do you have any constraints or limits with Facebook ads platform, with your creatives on Facebook ads platform in sort of relation what you can do regarding your creativity? So is there any constraints how actually Facebook team, advertising team can view you regarding your creativity, regarding the particularly creatives? For example, could be creative that you can shock the viewer, or like, you know, obviously with your targets and creatives. Is there any sort of constraints regarding those campaigns on Facebook?
The interesting thing about Facebook is how easy it has become to get a click with different messaging around, like we'd say, like shocking people into it, or making people think they're doing something else, or there's a hack at the moment that if you just wanted to send traffic, that if
but at the end of the day, it's all about targeting right target audience.
So what we find best with that is finding a community, an influencer who on Facebook has a large niche following, like in Romania or whatever you're looking for, and then boosting that post that you've done through that influencer, which is completely native to their community, and then boost it with Facebook Boost into the targeted community that you're looking for. So we did a campaign which is away from iGaming, but with a dating app called Happen, who are just looking for local followers, people, because the app allows you to date people who you've crossed paths with. So we found local London community pages like Hackney's Finest, posted on Hackney's Finest in a very, very community-driven way that brought value to their community, and then boosted it through Facebook to further 18 to 25-year-old single males in the Hackney area who would also find that relevant, who didn't follow Hackney's Finest, and then you get to that niche audience.
Exactly. For example, New England Patriots.
Yeah.
New England Patriots and Brady as the best quarterback in US. If you sell the T-shirts to their actually groups,
Exactly.
Groups actually supporting Patriots, of course, it's a 100% compatible audience.
Yeah.
And then you hit big time on Facebook, of course. So I agree with you regarding the targeting. So well done, thank you.
Do we have any more? Okay. I've got another one at the back. Thank you.
You were speaking about someone that's got 70,000 Snapchat followers.
Yeah.
How did they get them?
So they have that particular person got a large YouTube following. So that was an existing following that moved them across. I've tried a lot of different techniques to generate Snapchat followers because of the interesting mechanic of them not having a discover functionality. You can effectively buy Snapchat followers through Facebook ads for about 20p in the UK if you cleverly target Facebook ads like that. But really, you're looking at influencers to talk about you, shout you out, and what we've seen very successfully is using an influencer to start your Snapchat following as a brand. So, for instance, if you're William Hill, then you get Robbie Savage to start your Snapchat and launch it, and then you get his channels to push people to see the original content that he's creating. There was a really good case study, not something that we did, but a really good case study with a ice cream brand used Ben Phillips, who's a big Facebook video maker. He's got 8 million likes on his Facebook page, and they used him to launch their Snapchat. They paid a lot of money, but actually they generated over 50,000 Snapchat followers in a day. And it was incredibly good because they went, okay, Ben, just go and do whatever you'd normally do on your Snapchat, but do it on ours and bring your Snapchat followers, your Facebook followers, your Instagram, your Twitter, all the way to us. And then they had a nice community of people who are relevant in their target audience to push for.
And what sort of content works best to keep your followers?
On Snapchat?
Yeah.
Funny content. I think the best example of a brand doing things well on Snapchat, if you want to go and have a look, is BBC One, who do real sort of live feed comment overlaps on what is going on TV at that moment, which is really good. Being creative, emotive, just all the normal stuff, but doing it in a much quicker way. Face recognition on Snapchat is incredibly powerful. What we found is it's very, very similar to FaceTime and how people have interacted with video calls like Skype and now FaceTime, because it takes over your whole screen. It's vertical video. It actually eradicates every other distraction on the screen, like the time, the date, the battery life, everything goes for Snapchat. So the face-to-face contact's incredibly powerful, and when we actually get influencers to do stuff on Snapchat, we make sure that they have their face talking to the screen rather than anything else, and then intersperse it with black screens with text on it to make it more visible so you can actually see what you've got to do.
Do we have any more? Okay, I have one. Just about the process of crafting the messages. When you're sending this out to through these communities. I mean, is that getting that balance quite right in terms of it being authentic? I mean, are people bothered about realizing they're being sold to, or is there trust in that community that the message is coming through so strong that they're not really bothered, or is there just a generational shift? And maybe I'm revealing my age about authenticity. I don't know.
I think people don't mind being sold to if they're being sold the right thing. If I'm a golfer who's about to go and play golf, then I don't mind being sold a new golf glove. Like I need one when I'm about to go and play golf. So I don't mind it. If you're being sold things that aren't relevant to you, then obviously that's annoying. We spend a lot of time, and it's still a very manual process, about crafting the messaging, and the the difference between us and a lot of our competitors in the influencer space is we have relationships, personal relationships with all the influencers, and I'm talking like thousands with direct contact with those guys. And we talk with them about the messaging that we're creating, and it's a two-way street. We send them what we think they should use, and then they send something back, and then we find a happy medium, or whatever works best and what they think. Sometimes if it's Snapchat or YouTube or things like that, we give full creative control to the influencer because they know their audience better than we do. And yeah, it's about a manual process of having a long-term relationship, understanding what these guys want, understanding what the audience that they have wants, and knowing, in our case, knowing more about the influencer's audience than sometimes they do. But with all the data that we've collected over the last 18 months and seeing, okay, well, at 8:30, you're going to get the most click-throughs compared to 7:30. So when he pops up on Facebook Messenger and says, can I post now? I'm going to go no, because actually I'm going to see a 30% decrease in my effectiveness. So it's a company based on WhatsApp, Facebook chat, Snapchat, Instagram DM, Twitter DM, because that's where these guys are. And it's crafting messages inside of that, which is a long time. It takes a long time, and effectively is a barrier to entry in the influencer space, and why an agency is so valuable to a brand.
What are the? I mean, it's differentiating between the good and the bad. I mean, what things? Any particular things that people should avoid? I mean,
influencers.
In influencer marketing. I think getting that in the terms of the message they send out.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of. The interesting thing about influencer marketing is it's had a massive boom in the last 18 months whilst we've been around. Everyone's seen that there's a lot of money in it. Everyone's seen that brands are taking notice of it. There's loads of articles about it on Forbes, Inc., Telegraph, Times. People are thinking, okay, well, this is the next big thing. So with everything in every market like that, you're going to get a lot of bandits. You're going to get a lot of people going along for the ride. You're going to go, okay, well, I've got a mate who's got 30,000 followers. I'll start an influencer marketing talent agency who looks after him, and then I'll go and use that to go and get other things. Well, actually, that doesn't really work. These guys don't know what they're doing in the long term. With our background in the brand side, now moving over to the agency side, we've sat on the other side of the table. We know when an agency comes to us, we know exactly what KPIs we wanted to hit when we were at Sport Lobster and everything like that. So now we sit on the agency side and we're going to brands. Everything is guaranteed that we can guarantee because we know what we want to tell people. We need to make it easy. So when Aaron was sitting in his office at Sport Lobster, and I had to go in and report to him what we'd done with the £50,000 of marketing budget that month, then we had to say, okay, we spent this on this, and actually all he cared about was the result. So effectively at Go, our reports are just to make it as easy as possible for that report to be forwarded just straight onto the boss and see what's going on in terms of the return on investment, which is so important. And I think that's kind of the misconception that influencer marketing or social media doesn't have a direct return, and it massively can. But it's hugely swayed and by bandits in the industry, and there is a lot of them trying to make a quick buck, and that's not the way. If you believe in influencer marketing enough, like we do, that's not the way to look at it, because it's genuinely here to stay, and nothing beats it.
We're just coming to the end. We might have time for a very quick one, another quick question, if anyone has one. Okay, right. I'm gonna call proceedings to a close now because the next panel falls on quite hard, quite soon after this one. But we have a few minutes, and you can maybe just catch Harry over there.
Yeah,
if you need to sort of.
I'll be here for the next half an hour.
Okay.
And Aaron, my co-founder, also here to talk about what we've done in the last 18 months and
okay.
how we could potentially help you guys.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks a lot, Harry.
Cheers.